Hello and welcome back to Pseudo Gameplay TV for another Character Spotlight. I'm your host Pseudo, and today, continuing through our alphabetic breakdown of the playable characters, we have Falcon, the flying Avenger. Now, as we do with these characters, I do break down a little bit of what Falcon is. In terms of being a hero. Now in the MCU, we mainly know him as a guy in a flight suit, which is pretty standard of Falcon's character. However, he does have quite a few more abilities true to his nature that are more showcased in the comic side and prevail here in this game. And we do see that with some of his dialogue through the main story, which we've been checking out in the Let's Play. I encourage you to go check that out if you haven't had an opportunity to do so just yet. So Falco's abilities in general is he is an excellent bird trainer, as well as a skilled martial artist and gymnast. He does have and possess the power of flight via his wing harness. He has an empathic link with his pet falcon, Redwing, who unfortunately does not make an appearance in this game. They've taken more of the drone type approach that we're familiar with from the MCU. He has some limited control over birds and the ability to see through the eyes of nearby birds, kind of similar to I guess Dragonborn type characters from the Dungeons and Dragon dice and board game series. But let's jump in and have a look at Falcon's abilities as we showcase what he can, or before we showcase what he's capable of doing. So his first ability is the Redwing Rush, where the character rises up and then dives down and creates a shockwave. The second attack and ability is the Falcon's Flight, where the character spreads his wings during an upward spiral and launches nearby enemies. This is a pretty useful tool for sending clusters of enemies flying. The Razor Storm is similar to most projectile type attacks that we've seen, where Falcon will shoot an array of bladed feathers from the character's wings, and this is an attack that you can continue to use by mashing the button. The fourth and final ability that he has, apart from his extreme ability, which again we'll showcase in the Infinity Rift in just a moment, is the Twisting Talon, where the character spreads his wings and does a spinning dash. This is one of the attacks that can be charged up and then released, and we have seen that with some other characters as well. Now, Falco is one of the characters that you get very early on in the game, and level, but he does have quite a bit of utility and quite fun to use. So I've maxed out his personal synergies here with this setup with Miles Morales, Venom, and Black Panther. Of course, Miles Morales and Venom's character spotlights to come much further down the line, as they are alphabetically much later in the list of unlockable characters. But without further ado, let's jump into an Infinity Rift and show you what it's like to use Falcon in Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3. Alright, so the first thing that we do want to showcase with Falcon is, like other characters, he can fly around by double jumping. And then he is primarily a brawling character, so you do want to be up close and personal for your standard attacks. And then his heavy attack is a rotating dash with his outstretched wings, which does have kind of a conical area of effect and does provide nice amounts of knockdown. Before we get into his special abilities, let's quickly showcase his aerial. Again, this can be done out of the flight, but it does allow him to pull out his twin guns that we're familiar with from his MCU appearances. And this one you can actually kind of mash as he glides down and kind of relay covering fire. So it's one of the better and more lengthy aerial type attacks from the characters that we've seen. Now let's go ahead and start using some of his abilities. starting with the Red Ring Rush, where you can kind of see the drone comes around and flies around a bit as that's being used. And he will slam back down on top of the enemies in the nearby vicinity. Now, his secondary ability, which we just showcased there, is kind of a souped-up version of his heavy attack, where there's more of a flying uppercut in addition to the forward lunge. So both of those quite well for clearing out large groups of enemies, but of course with one requiring mana and having a little bit more knockback provided. Now for his third ability, this is the one where he will just kind of launch the different feathers from out of his wingsuit as projectile type weapons, and as you mash that button, you do get to continue to use it. I'm going to walk around and grab a little bit more of this health that's lying around as Falcon finds himself a little bit low. And then for his fourth and final ability, we have this forward dashing attack with his wingsuit. So it can be charged and is a little bit more effective of dealing with large groups of enemies, especially when they're some of the weaker grunts. Now in terms of Falco's ultimate attack, it's similar to what we've seen with Deadpool, but there's a little bit more than just the explosion type attacks that go through. As it has some additional physical damage that's applied apart from the explosion damage that's done with the startup. But Falco, even though he's primarily a ranged attacker, or a melee attacker, does have a fair amount of ranged capability. And you can really spam that Falcon wingsuit needle attack quite effectively to get a wide array of damage out on the different characters and enemies that you'll be fighting. So it's nice to have a character that's not limited to the same type of attacks, but can rather use a bit of a variety. In Elsa Bloodstone, we had primarily just the one type of attack. With her ranged weapons, and then we have people like Black Panther, who are primarily melee type attackers. So it is nice to have somebody like Falco that kind of gets the best of both worlds, if you will.
Cleared for landing.
Alright, let's use this Red Wing attack again. And it is quite well at providing some stagger pressure to the tougher enemies with the stagger bars.
Forgive me.
And just like that, we have cleared this Infinity Trial. I feel like that's a pretty good showcase of what Falcon is capable of. So be sure to leave a like and a comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for more, as I do upload these character tutorials and my Let's Play series pretty frequently. But let me know what you think. And other than that, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.